What's up everyone, this is Cyberknight Games, and today we have my top 10 favorite Pokemon. There are no rules on this, so it doesn't matter, just going with my top 10 favorites, whether it be for nostalgia, just because they look cool. There's just so many different reasons out there, even if they're good competitively, could be another reason too. So let's sit back and get to this list. Number 10. For number 10, we have Raikou. Raikou is just one of the coolest looking Pokemon, I think. I mean, I always thought it was cool because my first Pokemon game was Pokemon Silver. So I remember going after the Legendary Trio on that, and they were not easy at all to find. You actually had to find them and catch them, and they'd just run away from you. So it was such a pain back then. I remember always wanting to get Raikou, and when I finally did, it was just so amazing. It's just always been one of my favorite electric Pokemon in general, and it just looks awesome to me. I even like the anime episodes where it was like Pokemon Conquest. I think there was like 3 episodes or something where it had like Jimmy, and it was supposed to be, I think, Silver, from the Pokemon Adventure series, and I always thought it was really cool, and I really loved those episodes too. Number 9. For number 9, we have Tauros. Tauros is pretty interesting Pokemon. It was one of the first Pokemon I ever saw. I remember not being into the show as much back then whenever, it was at the height of, everything being crazy. Pokemon was just everywhere. I always thought Tauros looked cool, I never knew much about Pokemon back then, but I still thought it always looked really cool. And I know it's kind of an odd one to have on this list probably, because, really, I wonder how many people actually have Tauros on their top 10 list, but it's always been one of my favorites. I wish it would get some kind of evolution. Even a Mega Evolution would be cool, but just an evolution in general. I remember even thinking, like, Buffalont was going to be its evolution, but I'm kind of glad it wasn't. But yeah, hopefully we'll get a Mega Evolution for the future, but Tauros still awesome the way it is. Number 8. Number 8, we have Rayquaza. Rayquaza has always been one of my favorites. I remember being so happy when it had its own movie going against Deoxys, and that fight was just really cool. It was actually it's kind of, like a Dragon Ball Z style fight in a way, or it kind of was like that, a little bit more on the line, and I just thought the fight looked really cool. Not only that, of course, getting a Mega Evolution and being linked to Mega Evolution. I guess it was supposed to be the first one Mega Evolve, if I remember correctly, and it just looks amazing. Even the shiny form, it has one of the best shinies in the game. I would say one of the best shiny Pokemon just out of everything. And it just looks so cool. It's always been one of my favorite legendaries, and yeah, it had to be on this list. Number 7. Number 7, Lucario. Lucario's always been one of my favorites too. It was my favorite probably from Diamond and Pearl in general, and I think it's on most people's top 10 list, or it seems like to be a big time fan favorite with everyone anyway. And I remember even being happy seeing a Mega Evolution for it too, and I think that even looks really cool. But anyway, Lucario just has always been an awesome looking Pokemon. He even has that Aurora Sphere, which kind of looks like, Dragon Ball Z, like energy bombs to me, or even like a Rasengan from Naruto or something, So I always thought he looked really cool. I was glad he had his own movie as well, and it was actually a pretty good Pokemon movie too. I remember enjoying that one whenever it came out. But yeah, Lucario's always been my favorite. It's one of the ones that I always like using, especially even, I believe, in Black and White 2, it was easy to get Riolu and stuff, and I remember being really happy about that. So, Lucario, easily one of my top 10 favorites. Number 6. Heracross. Heracross is my favorite bug Pokemon just in general. It just looks the coolest. I love how he's actually a really strong and competitive Pokemon, and again, another one that has a Mega Evolution. That's kind of a common theme with this. I'm kind of surprised. I guess I'm not the only one that likes a lot of these different Pokemon, because they all get Mega Evolutions, or getting attention on that too. But yeah, it's always been one of my favorites, easily my favorite bug Pokemon. I remember being so happy, actually, I felt like I discovered this Pokemon, in Pokemon Silver back then, because my internet, you did really use internet back then, so you didn't know about a lot of these Pokemon. I remember how cool it was to actually find this one, as well as a bunch of the other Pokemon back then. So, yeah, I'll just never forget that, and Heracross will always easily be one of my favorites. Number 5. Next up, we have Blaziken. Blaziken is just one of the coolest Pokemon, I think. I always like the Fire Starter Pokemon. It seems like those are usually the ones I'm going to choose, out of all of them. And Blaziken is just really cool looking Pokemon. I remember being so happy to see that we had a fire fighting Pokemon back then, in the 3rd gen. And that was one of the main reasons I even bought that game. I even bought Ruby. I remember even saving up for a Game Boy Advance to play Ruby back then. So it's just a really important Pokemon to me. I always really enjoyed using it it back then. I remember even staying up really late as a kid playing and trying to get to Blaziken, you know, trying to get to my Torchic and Blaziken to evolve into Blaziken. So, yeah, it's always been one of my favorites, very nostalgic. Again, Mega Evolution, which is one of the scariest Mega Evolutions, too. But, yeah, easily one of my favorite fire starter Pokemon, and one of the most fun for me to use. Number 4. After that, we have Quagsire. Quagsire, I know, on the top 10 list, really, yes, that Pokemon is just too freaking awesome. I mean, it's always been another one of my favorites. It was one of my Pokemon I played through Silver with. It was one that I caught as a Wooper, and then I just trained it the whole game. I even got it to level 100. It was the second Pokemon I ever got to level 100. It's always been one of my favorites for that reason. It has that face, too, that face where it just does not give a crap, you know? It is just one of the funniest looking Pokemon out there. I think it's one of the coolest, too, and one of those that I always try to have on a team if I can get, you know, a Quagsire. And, yeah, I mean, it's just one of the funniest looking Pokemon out there, and I really enjoy using it. Number 3. After that, we have Charizard. Yes, Charizard. Not number 1 on this list. I wonder how many lists on YouTube, top 10 lists, that Charizard's number 1. Yeah, Charizard is an amazing Pokemon. It goes without saying. It seems like it's a fan favorite by many people, and a lot that, it's that Pokemon that a lot of people really remember, you know, even if they hadn't played Pokemon for a while or something, everyone knows what Charizard is. He's almost like Pikachu, you know, on that, and even getting 2 Mega Evolutions, both of them are awesome, too, on that, and, yeah, it was kind of hard not to make him number 1 on this list, but they're actually Pokemon I like a little bit more on there, and, again, he's a Fire Starter Pokemon, so, yeah, like I said before, I have a kind of a soft spot for Fire Starter Pokemon. And, I mean, it's Charizard. What more can you say? It's an awesome Pokemon. It's one of those that will always be one of the more popular Pokemon, and it just looks awesome. Number 2. After that, we have Scizor. Scizor, yes, the number 2 spot on my list. It's always been one of my favorites. I remember not knowing about this Pokemon for a while. Again, dial-up internet back then. Yeah, not too easy to know about all different Pokemon. But when I figured out that you could actually trade a Scyther with a Metal Coat to get a new Pokemon, one that looks like this, I mean, come on, it looks amazing. The color, you know, just red like that, and then it just has, like, those pincer-like things, you know, and all, too. It just looks like, you know, just so cool. Even being a steel Pokemon like that. I remember thinking how awesome that was. The main reason I like it too, the thing that made me like it the most was Pokemon Forever. In that movie you see Scizor and even Sneasel in there, and they just look so awesome in that movie, how they were animated and everything, and it was just one of the things that really cemented why I like Scizor. And again, Mega Evolution. I know, that is a big theme, but come on, it just looks so cool even as it's Mega Evolution, and a very strong competitive Pokemon at that. And number 1... And my number 1 favorite Pokemon is Typhlosion. Now, if you know me at all, you know this had to be number 1 on my list. I know a lot of people would choose Charizard, and there's many other Pokemon, but you have to go with Typhlosion. Typhlosion is just so cool. It was my starter Pokemon. It was my first Pokemon. My first Pokemon game was a Silver version. And I remember not knowing anything about Pokemon. Nothing at all. You know, and that was even during the craze of Pokemon and all that stuff, too. And I don't know, I just never really got into it too much when it was first going. And I chose Cyndaquil. And I trained up, I remember getting Typhlosion, got him fully evolved, and one of my friends also had the game. He had Crystal version, I had Silver, and we were kind of racing each other to beat the game and everything too. We both had Cyndaquils. And so we'd always fight. I always named my Typhlosion, you know, and even nowadays I do this, Ifrit, and he always named his Cinnamon. So it was kind of cool. I don't know, you know, probably cheesy names on there, but I don't care. It was just always so much fun to do that, and it's one of the most memorable video games of my childhood, just playing through Pokemon Silver. I'm still sad about how I lost my Pokemon Silver back then, because I even had Mew on it and all this stuff too, and I have a newer copy now, but I still miss my older copy that I had back then. But yeah, I always try to choose Typhlosion if I can. I'm hoping that one of these days he will get a Mega Evolution. I feel like he will eventually. I mean, come on, he's starter Pokemon. I feel like all starter Pokemon will eventually get Megas, right? And hopefully that will happen. And also, I'm still really hoping too for another like Pokemon Origins, but maybe one for Silver and Gold. I mean, come on, that'd be awesome. I mean, let me see Typhlosion being in, you know, like some of those kind of episodes, high quality Pokemon episodes like that. That'd be amazing. Although he was in a few anime episodes of Pokemon Conquest going into Raikou. So I always thought that was awesome, and those have always been some of my favorite episodes too of Pokemon. And there you have it. Those are my top 10 favorite Pokemon. Like I said, they're on there for many reasons, but I guess a lot of it is nostalgia, really. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you agree, disagree with some of my choices? Tell me your own top 10 list, or at least top 5. I want to hear from you guys on that. Also, if you enjoyed this top 10 list, give me a like. I would really enjoy seeing that. And also give me some, you know, suggestions on different top 10 lists, top 5 lists even, that you want to see that are Pokemon related on this channel. Just tell me that in the comments, and I'll try to get to those as soon as possible. As always, thank you for watching. Remember to comment, rate, and subscribe. And of course, I will catch you guys later. See ya.